guys, it's Luke here and welcome back to another video. Now right behind me we have possibly one of the most beastly M lights that I've ever seen in my life. This is Josh's Widebody M235i. Now those of you who watched my recent video up at Auto ID, you've actually met Josh before. He fitted the awesome Alcantara roll steering wheel to my car, and so it would be rude not to feature a video of his personal car. Now this thing has had an awful lot of money spent on it, and one other thing to mention, it's manual too, so it ticks all the boxes. So what we'll do, we'll run some more B-roll, I'll introduce you to Josh, we'll have a run around it before taking it out on the road and having some fun.
Yeah, hi guys, obviously as Luke mentioned, this is my M235i wide body. It's been a bit of a project for the last few years. We obviously got it to a point where it looks quite cool now, so just wanted to show you guys a little bit more about the car and show you some of the specifics around there. So I guess starting straight here with the Judd alloys. These are 20-inch, so they're quite big for an M-Light car. Obviously it's not much of an M-Light anymore, but those are from a good friend of mine, Brogan at Judd alloys. He sorted me out with those, so thanks to Brogan on that. Obviously when you move around the car you can look along the side skirt. This is definitely one of my sort of favourite bits on the car really, in terms of the detailed bits. All along here we've got some different companies that have done sort of either some major work or some companies that I've really got on with really well. So we've got the tuning store just here at the start. We've then got Auto ID, Wrench Studios obviously, who did the build in terms of the wide body. We got Sambo's tyres, big up to them. They've always sorted out my tracking. They're going to be hooking me up with tyres soon, very soon as well. Obviously C24F, we unfortunately know what happened with them, but the work on the wrap on this car in this aluminium grey matte colour is insane around certain parts of the body kit, as well as all this embossing, and then my own sort of little branding on there, which is BMW Showcase, which, long story short, is just a sort of online community to just showcase people's BMWs. We do some events throughout the year as well, which we're tying in with Auto ID. Naturally there's lots of carbon around the car as well, so more recently we've done these full mirror caps in carbon, as well as the shark fin on the back. Got some carbon eyebrow lids that I actually got from a friend of mine, Rafi, so cheers for that, mate. That's a really cool mod that we managed to throw on the car just to make it nice on the lights. Just trying to think what else there is at the front. Crash bars or strut bars wrapped in white, which are reflective, so if you get up close, I'm not sure if you'll see, but you can see they're a bit of a different colour than to the wrap, and that's just at night time to really make them shine and pop out when people's light hit against them. Engine wise, actually there's not a lot going on in terms of carbon under the bonnet, but we have got the hybrid turbo kit on there, which consists of an uprated reconditioned sort of hybrid turbo, which is good for about 520. It did run 500 last year, but we have blown an engine already and we've blown a turbo in the last year, which isn't ideal. So Wrench have managed to fix all of that up for now. It was all from previous mappers and previous companies that weren't that great. We've all sort of had learning curves throughout all of our builds. So it's probably running about 450 right now. I haven't managed to get it onto a dyno, but naturally with the mods that it's got, with the uprated high pressure fuel pump, the turbo as mentioned, charge pipe, decap, full straight through exhaust system to an M2 back box, it's definitely going to be running more than a stage 2, but as soon as I can get it onto a dyno I'm going to do that, maybe bring the numbers back up. I guess then moving on into the inside of the car, this is probably most of the outside bits already said. We've got one of the main attractions inside, which is the royal steering wheel. This is a bit more of an aggressive one, as you can see, with the flat bottom and the side profiles, just giving it that aggressive look to match up with how the car looks on the outside. Obviously you can see it was a manual, as Luke might have said, which is just adds to the novelty of the car. It's a bit more fun, just a bit more fun to play with really, I guess. We've got the Alcantara armrest, which is from Royal Steering Wheels as well, and then we've got some OEM stuff as well from BMW, which is the handbrake in sort of the exposed carbon, and the gator as well in Alcantara, and then the matching gear stick and gator as well, just to tie it all in nicely. And there's obviously not that much going on otherwise in the interior. I'd love to throw some bucket seats in and really do some more cool stuff on the inside, but I'm very much the outside aesthetics guy on this car, just to try and make it look really good. So that's kind of all that's going on inside. Oh, actually one more thing. If you look up right close, you can see that there's an airlift controller. So we did manage to put airlift on the car earlier on in the year when we wrapped the car. Obviously I pointed out there's bits of carbon around the car, so just a nice shark fin that I've installed recently from Auto ID, who I work for, sorry. An aggressive kick-up wing on the back. One of the more expensive parts around the car is the diffuser, and this is actually the first time that it's probably going to be on show that this has actually now been wrapped in the same colour as the body. This was originally gloss black along here, and then the carbon with some pinstripes here. And what happened was we lost sight of the carbon when this was gloss black. So just yesterday, I've had this wrapped in the matte grey aluminium, and now we can really see the work on the carbon. And with this diffuser, it's actually two diffusers that have been cut in half, and a 235 diffuser, then an M2 performance diffuser. They've been bonded together to give that quad pipe look. It's not to try and replicate an M2, but I didn't want to be that guy that's just cutting a 235 diffuser and making it look, quite frankly, a bit so I want to do things properly. This was the best quad diffuser on the market in terms of custom work that suited the quad look. We've gone for super big pipes. Lots of work done on the exhaust system by PCW Exhaust Mods, Dave from Knockhard Speed Shop. It's been through loads of other people as well, but those are the more recent works that we've had done on the car. And then I guess moving on just inside the boot, quite a nice simple boot.
I'll overlay some shots of that.
Kind of forgot about that. Yeah, so obviously now all the shit's out the car, and we've emptied all the clutter out. You can see that it's quite a nice simple boot build. I know there's loads of people that have loads going on in terms of sort of wiring and piping and all this sort of show off stuff, but I very much still use this car. It's a little bit bright today, but there is a little blue light here that shines up and kind of makes a little glow when it's a bit darker or a bit more overcast. But I think it's a really smart boot build, nothing special, but sort of flows quite nicely in the fact that it's still a daily somewhat. So yeah, looks really good.
Sweet. And then I think just before we go out for a drive, remind us about the wide body, because I think for me that's what's completely sets the car apart.
Yeah, maybe I should have said a little bit more about that. I've got a little bit used to it now. It's had the wide body for quite a while, but essentially the kit itself was actually made by a supplier in Asia. It's a Manhart style look kit, so it's very similar to the Manhart brand one, but I think there's small differences in terms of how it's actually been adapted by Wrench. I know Wrench Studios did a lot of work in terms of making it fit in a different and nicer way. And I just think it gives that extra width on the car. It obviously has allowed us to run 11J alloys on the rear and 10J on the front. The tyres are currently 295 on the rear, 265 on the front, which is pretty wide as far as I'm aware.
Very wide.
It can go wider, but I'm looking at possibly new wheels or changing the stance a little bit in terms of bringing the rear ones out a little bit again. With the wide body kit being the way it is, fully fiberglass, there's risks with the potholes, as I mentioned. Yeah. So we've got to be careful with how we've set the tyres up, especially at the front with the turning circle, 20-inch super wide alloys. There's a few things we still need to work out, but it does the job. It's a great car. It's still very much drivable. So there's just a few teething things that we want to iron out in the next few months and year, I guess.
Well, mate, no, it looks absolutely class, and I'm gonna just give you guys a few more angles of the wide body, because I mean, it looks ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I think the front almost looks even wider because you wouldn't expect it. I mean, look at this up here, absolutely crazy. Anyway, a pretty thorough walkthrough, so thank you very much for that. I think what we should do now is, well, start it up, make some noise, and go have some fun.
It's still great, but there's just something more raw and better sounding with the M55. And I think Yeah, they're not bad. They're not bad. They're not nothing major.
Yeah,
you know, like I said before, it was you let off, you hear nothing for 2 seconds, and then the whole car shook.
With a massive
I'm
flame.
not joking. It really felt like I'd blown the engine every time I do it. That's how loud it feels.
I know exactly what you mean, actually, because I've been in some cars which have got like flame tunes and stuff.
That's it.
It goes silent, well, not silent, but you think there's going to be a pop, and you leave it, and then it's just bang.
Bang, exactly. It makes me nervous every time.
Yeah.
Every time I did it. Not really super nervous, but.
Right, and then there's the people on the side of the road. You can't imagine what they think as well.
I set off a couple shop, so not only car alarms. In Dorking High Street, I set off shop alarms with the bang. Yeah, Little Antiques Road. Cracked all the china probably.
Yeah. Pulling the china shop literally.
Yeah.
You get a nice little bit of rasp as well.
Around 3.5 is when you really get a little whoop like that, and it just takes over every noise on in the sort of 100-metre radius.
You know what as well? When I was up at Auto ID last weekend for the mods on my car, and I saw this, I didn't realise how much it looks like an M2 at the back. I know that's not the look you're going for.
Yeah, it does.
But the tips, the 4 tips, straight up, I pretty much forgot that it's meant to just have 2.
Yeah, well that's it.
Standard.
I mean, I've actually thought about going back to the 2 big pipe setup, just to differentiate from an M2. But that custom made diffuser is so unique. I don't think there's anyone else running it in the UK, and there's a few people in Europe that are. But I would quad pipe any car as long as I could make it look good. Yeah. And I felt this diffuser gave it the look that would respect that. But if it didn't, I wouldn't have done it.
I can't imagine what people think with this behind you.
God, I feel bad.
It's so mean looking.
So mean and wide.
Yeah.
Can you imagine when it was murdered out fully?
Oh yeah, because it's a black car initially.
And there was no plate on the front either.
Yeah.
So it was just a black UFO.
Right, it's a weapon. It's an absolute weapon.
I don't know whether to take it further. Like I really don't.
Yeah.
Could we visit pure turbos and go for something even bigger?
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I think the B58 platform is just so much better.
Oh, could you imagine a B58 swap?
I should have done that.
Oh yeah, because you had a bit of a.
When we rebuilt the engine, in hindsight, definitely should have thrown a B58 in, but didn't cross my mind a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
This was before the Widebody build, so this was
when it wasn't as mental as what it is now.
That's it, exactly. It was never on the agenda.
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing I'd say is that there are some performance mods lacking from this car, with it being more of a show car.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have an LSD on it. It should have that, but I don't race, I don't track.
Yeah.
So I'm not dragging it round these roads because it's too precious. But if I was to start tracking it, I'd take the alloy size down probably, to improve ride and handling somewhat.
If you go straight like there, it's alright, yeah. It's fairly obvious as well that you use the car.
Well, that's
which
it.
is why it's dirty.
Yeah,
I know there's going to be people saying, "Oh, why is it dirty?"
And I do have a day, another daily, a Cooper S, which is a great car.
Yeah.
But that's very much the safe car. I still like taking this out as daily as I can. It was still very much a daily up until just a month ago, really.
Yeah.
So still very much used every day.
Yeah, and I've gone this way on purpose.
There we go.
There we go. And we can loop back as well. So we can go back.
Oh, actually, there's a tunnel here. We could rev it a bit.
It still does shake the car a little bit, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. But yeah, going back to what I said is the LSD would be great, bigger brakes, of course, and bits and bobs. But like I said, it's show car at the moment. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, because this is pretty much stage 2, right?
Yeah, I'd say it's been dialed down since we blew the turbo last month, which again was from a previous company that worked on the car.
Yep.
And it's had to be reconditioned, so I would guess around 450 at the moment.
450, yeah, and with 450 you don't really need bigger brakes. I mean, you can if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's not like you need it.
Exactly. So
like it's completely fine as it is.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not smashing this car around. I like people to look at it a bit more instead of hooning past at 120 miles an hour.
Yeah,
you know. So. take it.
Yeah.
Had it been an auto, I might well have got an auto.
Yeah, fair enough.
And no doubt that would have been super quick on the power, gear changes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like we said, is people look at the car, they look at the mods, and they pop their head in the window and see it's manual. They see the stick. So
I mean, that's exactly what I did when I came up to you guys at Auto ID, because I had no idea. I looked in and I was like, oh, hello.
That's it. Yeah, a lot of people like it.
Yeah. I love those shifts. I kind of want a manual now.
Yeah.
I drove a manual 140 and the gearbox does take a little bit getting used to.
A bit.
But there's nothing like just shifting manually.
Yeah, and the feel you get.
Yeah.
I've actually sort of liked the manual more and more as I've built the car.
Yeah.
Initially I thought nothing of it. The original gear knob and stick is so clunky.
Yeah.
And when I changed it to the more thin one, it definitely, it's not a short shifter, it's just a shorter shift stick.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit easier to do. It doesn't actually speed up the gear changes per se.
Yeah.
But it helps with shifting.
Yeah.
Essentially, and it looks nice as well.
Yeah, it does look really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're going to wrap the video up there, mate. What a build. It's been a long time coming, actually.
Yeah,
And,
I know we've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah, well, I think